Hey gals, welcome to Binge Free Bestie, the podcast where we ditch the diets, break free from binge eating, and build a safe and empowered relationship with our bodies. I'm your host, Nick Carberia, a registered therapist who totally gets it. Binge eating and body image struggles? Yep, I've been there, done that, and I've got the therapy bills to prove it. But here's the good news, bestie. I've recovered and I'm here to help you to do the same. This potty is all about real, evidence-based strategies from my therapy practice, plus down-to-earth, relatable girl talk with me and some of my amazing besties and other experts who have their own stories, tips, and tricks to share with you. So, whether you're tired of the diet cycle, ready to ditch the shame spiral, or just want to feel more confident in your own skin, then you've come to the right place. It's time to get real about food freedom, body acceptance, self-care, and building a life you truly love. Let's get into it, besties. Hey bestie, welcome back to week 2 of the Recovery Rebellion. This is a 4-week mini-series where I'm going to be lifting the lid on diet culture bullshit that's been keeping you stuck. I'm going to be unpacking the real reasons behind your struggles with food and your body, and I'm going to be showing you what it actually takes to begin your recovery journey. So if you're here, I already know that you're most probably already been stuck in this never-ending cycle of, new plan, a new start, same old spiral. And last week we blew the lid off the biggest scam that has been going around, and that is dieting and wellness culture. This week we're going to be diving a bit deeper into that, and we're going to be exploring the real cost of staying stuck in that toxic relationship you're in with food, your body, in the whole weight loss world. So, spoiler alert, it is costing you. And it is costing you so much more than just calories or cash. So let's talk about what this obsession is really stealing from you. Obviously, I want to try and convince you that there is an alternative and a better way to live. And sometimes we just need to kind of weigh up those pros and cons to motivate us to make some change. So that's what we're going to talk about. This is stealing from you things like your money, your joy, your peace, your life. Okay, so let's dive in and let's start off with the financial drain that this chasing a certain weight or shape, because let's be real, we know that diets are expensive, and I'm going to break it down for you in black and white. So the first little tip, little statistic I'm going to share with you is that the average Aussie or Kiwi spends between $30 to $50 a week on unplanned emotional eating. So that's about $2,600 per year. And I know that this isn't just takeaways. And it's actually okay to have takeaways. It's okay to have, chocolate after a shitty day. That is totally fine, and I'm never going to berate you for that. But, those screw it Uber Eats and late night chocolate hauls, the binge stash that you've got hidden somewhere at home, that really does add up. And as we've talked about in other episodes, it is okay to use food to serve yourself from time to time. But what I'm going to be teaching you in our work together is there are other things that you can do to look after yourself and to serve yourself. And it does get expensive when you continually choose to emotional eat over other tools that you could do, such as journaling or breath work or moving your body or connecting with someone you love. Those things are generally all free. And emotional eating and binge eating can get bloody expensive. I mean, we just said $2,600 a year on average. And you're not spending that money because you're weak. I've been there too. You're spending it because it gives you a quick fix. You know that when you take that food that you've planned to binge on, so you get the takeout or you get the block of chocolate or whatever it is, it does work. And that's why you keep going back to it. It does soothe you. It does feel good. Even if it's just temporary, even if it's just a split moment, your brain is wired to seek pleasure, and it will go for the easiest option. So that's why we usually choose food. You're not weak though. You're just spending that money because you're stuck in that restrict binge cycle. So let's add on to the money that you spent trying to fix binging. So there's lots of things we do to try to get out of the binge restrict cycle. An example is, say, a gym membership that you are probably barely using. So an average gym membership is around $30 to $40 a week. So that is adding up to, say, $1,500 or $2,000 a year. And let's be honest, or at least I can speak from my own experience, half the time you don't go. And when you do go, it's because you're punishing yourself for a binge or having overeaten. Or you're avoiding it completely because you've already screwed up. You've already fallen off the wagon, so you just give up completely. It's that all or nothing mentality with movement and exercise. And probably you also spent a heck of a lot of money on, a really cute activewear outfit because you thought it might motivate you, which of course it doesn't. We know this now. But yeah, binge eating is not fixed by any of these external things. But of course, diet culture sells us that. So we've got gym memberships that you may or may not be using. We've got things like juice cleansers, supplement stacks, tracking apps that you've got a subscription for, coaching from somebody who promise you accountability and a plan that will work. And we know that these are bloody expensive too. So it's easily $2,000 to $5,000 plus, right? When you add up all those little things, the gut health protocol, the clean eating reset, the MLM protein powder that you brought from your cousin's bestie's upline leader, all of that stuff adds up. Now, if you are doing all those things, what about Ozempic, Saxenda, or other injectables? If you've gone down the medical weight loss route, that is expensive. So you're looking at between $500 to $1,200 per month. So that could be up to $14,000 a year to try and control that food noise. But of course, we've talked about this in another episode. And if this is something you've thought about doing, it's your body, it's your choice, and I always support you. But I would love you to listen to the episode on weight loss surgery, which I've spoken about at length since I've had that, and injectables, because these are tools that you can use, but they don't support your mind, okay? And you're still going to need to make behavioral changes if you're hoping to kick binge eating out of your life. So taking the Ozempic or Saxenda injectable does not cure binge eating. And it's a very expensive thing to be doing if that is your sole intention of using those tools. How about other things that you invest in to try and stop binging? What about personal training sessions that you probably hated? Those are $80 per session minimum. I don't know what the current rates are right now actually, but I know they're expensive. And say you're going once a week for a few months, that's like another $1,000 spent trying to exercise your way out of emotional eating instead of actually healing the root cause. I know I spent a lot of money on things like meal delivery services or those box kit meal things because, $300 for a box of clean eating meals that taste like cardboard and just leave you fixated on mashed potatoes by Wednesday. You don't eat all that food, it ends up rotting in the back of the fridge, and you cancel and you've wasted all of this money. Well, you eventually cancel, of course, you avoid it for a while. And you feel guilty, that's not going to stop the binging either, okay? And the final thing I want to know is, and I'm so guilty of this one, was constantly restocking the pantry after you find this new program or wellness hack or clean eating reset. So, you chuck out everything in the pantry that doesn't fit the new bill. You're like, this is it. I'm going to do it for real this time. I'm going to be good. And you spend like $200 or $300 on organic, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free fun, free groceries. And then, X amount of days later, 3 days later, maybe 3 days, 3 weeks later, whatever, you're binging on toast at midnight and that kale is just liquefying in the back of the fridge. So, yeah, what do you have to show for all of this stuff? I just want to let this land because it goes to show it's not just a food issue. Binge eating can have huge financial impact. It has huge emotional impact. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the emotional and psychological toll of binge and emotional eating. Of course, we can't measure that in dollars, but have a think about it, that mental energy. I know you must be feeling drained. This is utterly consuming. You are just in a constant war with your own brain. You're constantly calculating every bite, you're judging every meal, you're always planning to be perfect again and again. You just get sucked into this shame when it all falls apart. You're doing things like secretly Googling how to stop binge eating at 2 a.m. whilst probably eating something or suffering from the fallout of a binge earlier in the day. But of course, tomorrow never comes with these things, and deep down, you're scared it never will. And what about your social life? So your social life seems to just fade away, right? You become invisible. You start saying no to going out for dinners with your friends or family. You say no to going out for drinks or birthdays or hang out on the beach because you don't want anyone to see you in your talks. And why? Why is your social life shrinking? Is it because the idea of navigating food or being seen in your body is just filling you with dread? It's making you feel anxious? Maybe you don't want people to see how much weight you've gained. You don't want to be judged for what you might choose on the menu. You hate that you don't feel in control. You don't feel calm when you're around food. You don't feel normal. So you just isolate yourself. You ghost. You sit at home feeling even more broken then. And everyone else out there just seems to be living their life. I get that. If we're talking more about mental health, how about your inner dialogue? So are you saying things to yourself like, you're disgusting, you have no control, what's wrong with you? I mean, you wouldn't, well, maybe you would, but I would say you wouldn't speak to your worst enemy the way that you speak to yourself sometimes. Maybe every time you go past a mirror, you reject yourself. And maybe every time you eat something, even an apple, for example, you wonder, was that the right choice? Have I gone over my calories? Have I gone over my macros? And you're just sitting there calling yourself lazy or greedy or hopeless. But at the same time, your expectations are so high. How can you have such high expectations for yourself, but at the same time simultaneously be bullying and beating yourself up? It just makes sense, hey? So these are the things you're paying for. It's not just money. What about your dreams? I know that when I was binge eating, I just put all of my dreams on the shelf. I completely gave up on this future that I wanted because I felt like I could never get there. I would never get there, not in this body. Not until I stopped binge eating. I can't have that, I never tried to enhance my career. I would never have asked for a pay rise. I wouldn't go on holidays to tropical places because I knew I would have to wear swimming togs, and God forbid I had to wear swimming togs in public. I stayed in a relationship. That wasn't my dream relationship. I stayed in that relationship for nearly 6 years because I felt no one else would ever be attracted to me. No one else would ever love me. This was as good as I was going to get. And he wasn't a bad guy. He was actually the nice guy. But he didn't treasure me. And he didn't see me He didn't inspire me. We didn't have a future together that was exciting or empowering. It was just, I could predict the rest of my life with that person easily. And it wasn't the life that I actually wanted. It wasn't the life that I wanted. So the version of myself who I wanted to step into, the most powerful version of me, the highest version of me, I put her on the shelf because I felt like I could not be her until I lost the weight and stopped binge eating. So that's a big cost that you pay if that is what you're doing too. All of these things, so the financial costs, the psychological, the emotional, the relationships, the spiritual costs, that is the true cost of staying stuck. It's not just about the binging, right? It's about how much of your life is being stolen by the belief that you just need to try harder. When in reality, what you actually need is a new way of being, a new set of behaviors. As I said before, when we were talking about injectables, they're just tools, but you will never stop binge eating. You're never going to be able to stop emotional eating until you make behavioral changes. You need a new way of being. So a way that doesn't revolve around food rules or shame or shrinking yourself to be enough. Every single month that you stay in this cycle is a month that is stolen from the life that you could be living. Those missed birthdays because you didn't want to eat the cake. Holidays where you filled your suitcase with diet snacks. Dating, maybe you just opted out of that. Sex, you kept all your clothes on. Turned the lights off. Careers, you didn't chase. You didn't chase that ambition that you truly had because you didn't feel confident enough to show up. So let's just name it for what it is. Let's call it for what it is. Diet culture is absolutely robbing you blind. And it's not money, not just money. It's self-trust, it's joy, it's intimacy, it's aliveness. So that is the myth, the myth of just needing to try harder. And maybe now, even as I'm saying all of this, there's still a little part of you that's saying, well, I should be able to get it together. I could just stick to something, surely. Maybe you're still thinking the problem is you. If that's the case, I want you to go back and listen to every episode of this podcast because by the time you get to this one, you will know the problem is not you because you'll understand the biology and the psychology behind binge eating. It's not you. It's not you. It's just that you haven't found the right thing yet. Okay? No, I don't mean the right plan or the right pill or the right whatever. No, you are not the problem. You were never meant to win this game. This game is rigged from the start. This game that diet culture has chucked you in has been designed to keep you obsessed and distracted and shrinking yourself. All the while, it does try to convince you that you are doing this from a place of self-love and empowerment, but it's not. This whole diet culture, wellness culture system is built to profit from your failure. So they are selling you the promise of control, and when it doesn't work, they just blame you, right? They don't blame the restriction that they put you under. They don't blame the unsustainable rules. They don't say anything about the shame spirals that they planted in you. They just blame you and your supposed lack of willpower. And then you internalize that. So you punish yourself with another reset or another fast or another fresh start that just slowly becomes another binge. It's not a willpower problem. That is a system problem. So we need to start working on healing the real root of your food relationship. That is learning some emotional regulation, moving from restriction into food freedom, and calm and confidence, and working on any deep wounds that you may have, so any trauma around body shame and worthiness. Okay, this path to achieving those things, it does exist, and it's not just possible, it's totally proven. I am an example of that, and the women I support are an example of that. I mean, last year alone, I did over 1,000 hours of therapy with women, which is pretty mind-blowing. I blow my own mind here. I calculated it that, I did over 1,000 hours of supporting women, not to mention my own continued personal development. So healing is possible and it's proven. So it's time for you to flip the switch, okay? Flip the switch, flip the script. What if you were investing all of that money, time, and mental bandwidth into your healing? What if food could just be food? And what if your body wasn't an eternal project? What could it be like if you finally had freedom? I think you've spent enough. I think you've sacrificed enough. And I think it is time for a return on all of that pain and all of that struggle. And that is exactly why I do what I do, because I know exactly what it feels like. It is exhausting. So that's why I've got the breakup. That's my program. You would have heard about it before already. You can find the links in the bio. It's not time for another diet. It's not time for more control. Okay? So that is what I wanted to talk to you about today. I just wanted to kind of show you the cost, the toll that binge eating and emotional eating is having on you, to help to motivate you to be open-minded towards the possibility of trying something new. And I know that what I'm offering and some of the things that I'm talking about are a bit on the fringe. Okay, they're a bit different to things you might have done in the past. Some of the things I talk about might feel a little bit woo-woo. I love woo-woo, but I also use evidence-backed tools too. So you've got the best of both worlds there. And I only ever share anything that I know works because I've applied it to myself and I've successfully supported clients with those tools too. So they work. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this week's episode of Recovery Rebellion. It was all about weighing up the pros and cons and actually highlighting, hey, there is a massive cost to what's happening for you, and you have the power to opt out of that. So I believe in you, and I would love to walk this journey beside you. This podcast comes out every week. It's totally free. Next week, I'm going to start giving you a bit more kind of strategies. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would love for you to leave me a quick review if you can. That means the world to me, and it just helps me to find more women. The more reviews that people leave, just click 5 stars if you can. That means that the reach of this podcast will go a little bit further. You know, Spotify and Apple will suggest this to new people, and hopefully we can, empower as many women around the globe as possible to step into food freedom. If you do leave a review, I will gift you a copy of my workbook, Embrace Your Body, for free. Just send me a little screenshot via Instagram, DM it to me so that I can see you've done that, and I'll send you back the discount code to download it for free. It's got all my fave tools for body image, and it's usually $30. So it's a pretty cool gift just for helping me to grow the podcast. I can't wait to hear what you think, and thank you as always for being here with me. I'll be with you again next week, and we're going to be talking about the number one root cause of binge eating and why you've been blaming the wrong things all along. All right, have a fab week. Ciao.